The weight of an eternal assignment is felt first in the marrow of the bones, where the ancient resonance of the primordial decree vibrates against the fragile structure of human limitation. To be a chosen one is not merely to possess a title or to walk a path of preferential treatment, but to embody a specific celestial frequency that acts as a bridge between the unmanifested glory of the divine and the dense reality of the terrestrial sphere. This frequency is a delicate crystalline structure of light and sound, meticulously calibrated by the hand of the infinite originator to perform tasks that the ordinary human spirit cannot contemplate. However, the maintenance of this vibration requires an uncompromising adherence to the laws of the prohibited domains, those metaphysical territories and psychological states that seek to dampen the resonance of the anointed soul until its light becomes indistinguishable from the pervasive gloom of the mundane world. You must understand that your sanctity is your greatest defensive mechanism and your most potent weapon in the unseen wars that govern the tides of history. The first prohibited domain is the vast, echoing chamber of public validation, a seductive landscape where the ego is invited to feed upon the hollow praises of those who cannot perceive the depth of your mandate. When a chosen one enters this domain, they begin to exchange their celestial currency for the leaden weight of human opinion, gradually shifting their focus from the vertical alignment with the source to the horizontal desperate search for approval. The danger here is not merely vanity, but the dilution of the frequency. The moment you seek to be understood by the masses, you begin to alter the modulation of your truth to make it more palatable, more digestible, and in doing so, you strip the revelation of its transformative power. Sanctification demands a willingness to be misunderstood, to dwell in the silent corridors of your own soul, where the only voice that carries weight is the still, small whisper of the great architect. This is the strategy of the hidden seed, which must remain in the dark, cold earth, away from the prying eyes of the curious, until its roots are deep enough to support the miraculous growth that is to come. Within the architecture of your daily existence, there exists a necessity for a perimeter of absolute silence. This is not the silence of empty space, but the vibrant, expectant silence of a temple before the high priest enters. The modern world is a relentless engine of noise designed to fracture your attention and scatter your intentionality across 1,000 trivialities. To safeguard your frequency, you must cultivate a fortress of quietude within your own mind, refusing to allow the chaotic frequencies of fear, anger, and anxiety to penetrate the sanctum. When you wake, the first breath you draw should be an act of reclamation, a conscious decision to anchor your consciousness in the eternal rather than the ephemeral headlines of a collapsing civilization. The mercy of the divine is often found in these small, quiet hinges of the day, the way the light falls across a table, the sudden warmth of a memory that provides strength, the intuitive nudge to avoid a certain path or to reach out to a specific soul. These are not coincidences, but the rhythmic pulses of the celestial frequency interacting with your physical reality, providing a roadmap through the labyrinth of the everyday. The prohibited domain of premature exposure is perhaps the most treacherous for those who feel the fire of their calling burning brightly within them. There is a profound temptation to manifest the vision before it has reached full term in the womb of the Spirit. We see the world suffering and we wish to heal it. We see the darkness and we wish to scatter it. Yet, if the Anointed One steps onto the stage before their inner alchemy is complete, they will be consumed by the very forces they seek to transform. You are currently in a state of celestial gestation, a period where the divine is layering protection upon protection around your destiny. This protection often feels like isolation or rejection, but it is actually a divine shielding meant to prevent the world from corrupting the purity of your intent. Every moment of perceived delay is actually a moment of deepening your capacity to hold the light, the blessings of the everyday, the simple meal shared in peace, the strength to complete a mundane task, the unexpected kindness of a stranger, are the anchors that keep your spirit grounded, while your soul expands to encompass the vastness of your future responsibilities. Furthermore, there is the prohibited domain of unhallowed intimacy, where the chosen one risks yoking their energy to those who do not carry a compatible resonance. This is not an act of judgment or a claim of superiority, but a fundamental law of spiritual energetics. To be sanctified is to be set apart, and this setting apart extends to the closest circles of your life. When you allow your frequency to be entangled with those who dwell in the domains of cynicism, malice, or spiritual apathy, you create a leak in your vessel. Your light begins to drain away into the void of their unhealed shadows, leaving you exhausted and unable to fulfill the specific mandates assigned to your lineage. True mercy lies in maintaining your boundaries, for by standing firm in your own frequency, you provide a lighthouse for others to find their own way, rather than drowning with them in the turbulent seas of their own making. You must learn to love from a place of sovereign strength, offering the overflow of your cup rather than the essential nectar of your own life force. The clarion call to sanctification is an invitation to enter the subterranean depths of your own being, to find the hidden springs of power that have been blocked by the debris of worldly conditioning. It is an arduous process of unlearning, a stripping away of the false identities that were grafted onto you by a society that fears the awakened spirit. As you navigate the prohibited domains, you will find that the protection of the divine is not a passive shield, but an active, intelligent force that rearranges reality to suit your growth. It manifests as a sudden closing of a door that would have led to your destruction, or a strange, inexplicable peace in the midst of a storm that should have broken you. This is the everyday blessing of the anointed, to walk through the fire and realize that the flames are not burning you, but only consuming the ropes that once bound you. You are being refined into a vessel of pure gold, capable of carrying the heavy glory of the coming revelation without cracking under the pressure. In the silent strategy of the heavens, your life is a piece of living scripture, a narrative of redemption and power that is being written in real time. Each choice you make to avoid a prohibited domain, each moment you spend in the cultivation of your celestial frequency, adds a new layer of authority to your voice. The world does not need more information. It needs the presence of those who have been seasoned in the wilderness and have emerged with the scent of eternity upon their garments. This is why you must guard your eyes, your ears, and your heart with a holy jealousy. What you consume, you become. If you feast upon the digital shadows and the frantic projections of a frightened world, your frequency will become discordant and ragged. But if you feast upon the bread of life, which is found in the stillness, in the beauty of the natural world, and in the profound depths of sacred wisdom, your frequency will become a harmonious symphony that can heal the sick and awaken the dead. The everyday mercy that follows the chosen one is found in the exquisite detail of a life lived in alignment. It is the miraculous provision that arrives exactly when the last resource has been exhausted. It is the supernatural endurance that allows you to stand when all others have fallen. It is the sharp, piercing clarity of vision that allows you to see the trap before it is sprung and the opportunity before it is announced. These are the fruits of sanctification, the tangible evidence that you are no longer a citizen of the falling world, but an ambassador of the rising kingdom. You are protected not because you are perfect in your humanity, but because you are essential to the divine plan. Your frequency is a key that unlocks specific gates of destiny, and the Great Architect will not allow that key to be lost or broken as long as you remain within the boundaries of the sacred covenant. As you move forward, carry the weight of your calling with a majestic humility. Do not boast of your proximity to the divine, for the true anointed need no heralds. Their presence alone alters the atmosphere of any room they enter. The shadows will flee from you not because you fight them, but because your frequency is anathema to their existence. This is the ultimate protection, to become so saturated with the light of the source that there is no darkness left within you for the external darkness to latch onto. This is the narrow path, the road less traveled, the prohibited domains that lead to the heart of the mystery. The clarion call is sounding, vibrating through the dimensions, calling the chosen ones to rise from their slumber and take their places as the guardians of the celestial frequency. Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the divine will do wonders among you, and you must be ready to receive the full measure of the inheritance that has been laid up for you since the foundations of the world. Your destiny is a tapestry woven with threads of gold and obsidian, a masterpiece of divine craftsmanship that requires your total cooperation. Every act of self-discipline, every refusal to engage in the petty grievances of the ego, every hour spent in the contemplation of the sublime is a stitch in this eternal fabric. The prohibited domains are simply the areas where the thread would fray or the color would fade. By avoiding them, you ensure that your life remains a vibrant, unbreakable testament to the power of the living truth. Embrace the solitude, for it is the laboratory of the soul. Cherish the silence, for it is the language of the heavens. Honor the boundaries, for they are the walls of your fortress. You are being called higher, into a realm of existence where the limitations of the flesh are superseded by the laws of the spirit, where mercy is your oxygen and protection is your very atmosphere. Walk with the dignity of a sovereign, for you are being watched by a cloud of witnesses who marvel at the grace that has been bestowed upon you in this late hour of the age. The frequency is stabilizing, the sanctification is deepening, and the gates of the prohibited domains are closing behind you as you step into the full radiance of your celestial identity. Within the hallowed silence of the infinite, where the heartbeat of the cosmos synchronizes with the breath of the Creator, there exists a specialized architecture of the soul designed exclusively for those marked by the oil of divine purpose. This sacred blueprint necessitates the establishment of impenetrable boundaries, not as prisons of isolation, but as sanctuaries of preservation for the celestial frequency that vibrates within the marrow of the anointed. To walk as a chosen vessel is to navigate a landscape littered with metaphysical traps and energetic drains that seek to dampen the resonance of heaven within the human vessel. The first of these prohibited domains lies within the treacherous terrain of external validation, where the soul is tempted to exchange its divine approval for the flickering shadows of human applause. When a seeker enters this jurisdiction, they inadvertently surrender their internal compass to the whims of a fickle collective that cannot comprehend the depth of a spirit birthed from the ancient fires of eternity. This dependency creates a leak in the spiritual vessel, allowing the precious oil of anointing to spill onto the parched ground of vanity. One must realize that the frequency of the heavens is maintained in the secret place where no eye sees and no hand claps save for the hand of the eternal. To seek the recognition of the world is to invite a dissonance that disrupts the harmonious alignment of one's destiny. Beyond the gates of external validation lies the second unhallowed jurisdiction, which is the labyrinth of ancestral sorrow and the recursive loops of generational trauma. While the anointed are often called to heal their bloodlines, they are strictly forbidden from dwelling within the grievances of those who came before them. To linger in the bitterness of the fathers is to anchor the soul to a sinking ship of the past, preventing the celestial frequency from rising into the lightness of the present moment. Mercy functions here as a sharp blade, severing the ethereal cords that bind the chosen to the failures and limitations of their lineage. This severance is not an act of cruelty, but a necessary preservation of the purity required for the next epoch of revelation. The third domain of prohibition involves the seductive cavern of premature revelation, where the spirit feels the urge to speak the mysteries of God before they have been fully gestated within the womb of silence. There is a sacred incubation period for every divine promise, and to expose the embryonic word to the harsh atmosphere of public scrutiny is to risk a spiritual miscarriage. The anointed must master the art of the sealed lip, understanding that silence is the womb of power, and that words spoken too soon lose their potency and their ability to transform reality. As the seeker ascends higher, they encounter the fourth jurisdiction, which is the fortress of intellectual arrogance, where the mind attempts to systematize the unsearchable riches of the divine. The celestial frequency is not a product of logic, but a resonance of the heart. And when one attempts to confine the infinite within the narrow walls of human reason, they effectively shut the windows of heaven. True wisdom is found in the posture of the child, who knows that the more they learn, the less they truly comprehend of the vastness of the Creator. This humility acts as a protective shield against the pride that caused the fall of the morning stars. The fifth unhallowed realm is the quagmire of parasitic symbiosis, where the chosen one feels a misplaced obligation to carry the burdens of those who refuse to walk their own path. While compassion is a hallmark of the anointed, there is a fine line between bearing a brother's burden and enabling a soul's stagnation. To absorb the shadows of others without divine command is to pollute one's own frequency and to invite a fatigue that is not of the spirit, but of the ego. Protection in this realm comes through the discernment of spirits, allowing the individual to walk through crowds without becoming a sponge for their unrefined energies. In the daily walk of the chosen, there is a subtle yet dangerous sixth jurisdiction known as the market of spiritual commerce. This is the temptation to monetize the gifts of the Spirit or to view divine favor as a means to earthly gain. The moment the sacred becomes a commodity, the celestial frequency is replaced by a transactional vibration that attracts the spirits of the air rather than the hosts of heaven. One must guard the heart against the creeping vine of greed, ensuring that every act of service is rooted in the selfless love that characterizes the source of all being. Mercy often manifests in this domain as the sudden closing of doors that would have led to material wealth at the cost of spiritual integrity. This is followed by the seventh jurisdiction, which is the echo chamber of self-reproach and the relentless relitigating of past errors. The anointed are forbidden from visiting the graveyard of their forgiven sins, because to do so is to insult the efficacy of divine mercy. The frequency of the heavens is one of perpetual renewal, and to look back with longing or regret is to become a pillar of salt, frozen in a time that no longer exists. The eighth unhallowed jurisdiction is the threshold of divine impatience, where the soul attempts to force the hand of destiny through human striving. This realm is characterized by a frantic energy that seeks to bypass the necessary trials of the wilderness. The chosen must understand that the delay is often a form of protection, ensuring that the character is strong enough to carry the weight of the coming glory. When one tries to manufacture a breakthrough, they often give birth to an Ishmael rather than waiting for the Isaac of promise. Finally, the ninth jurisdiction is the veil of distorted identity, where the individual begins to believe the lies whispered by the accuser regarding their worthiness or their origins. This is the most dangerous of all domains, for if the enemy can convince the chosen that they are merely orphans of the earth, they will never exercise their authority as heirs of the kingdom. The celestial frequency is anchored in the unwavering knowledge of one's sonship or daughtership, and any thought that contradicts this truth must be treated as a foreign invader. In the midst of navigating these prohibited domains, the anointed are surrounded by the everyday blessings that act as the scaffolding of their survival. Mercy is found in the quiet morning light that resets the nervous system, and in the sudden warmth of a stranger's kindness that reminds the soul it is not alone in the cosmos. Protection is woven into the very fabric of the mundane, appearing as a missed appointment that saved one from a hidden danger or a sudden intuition to change one's route. These are not coincidences, but the rhythmic pulses of the divine frequency intervening in the physical realm to ensure the safety of the vessel. The preservation of the soul requires a constant recalibration to the frequency of gratitude, acknowledging that every breath is a gift and every heartbeat a testament to the sustaining power of the infinite. By avoiding these 9 unhallowed jurisdictions, the chosen one remains a clear conduit for the light of eternity, allowing the nectar of heaven to flow through them into a world parched by the heat of its own illusions. The strategy of silence and the discipline of the heart are the keys to maintaining this state of sanctified resonance, ensuring that the mandate placed upon their life reaches its full and glorious fruition without the interference of the lower realms. The journey of the anointed is further refined through the understanding that their frequency is sensitive to the subtle shifts in the emotional atmosphere surrounding them. To guard this frequency, one must also shun the jurisdiction of collective hysteria, where the fears of the world are magnified into a deafening roar. In times of global turbulence, the chosen are called to be the eye of the storm, a center of stillness that refuses to be agitated by the waves of uncertainty. This peace is not an absence of conflict, but a presence of a higher order of reality that supersedes the chaotic narratives of the temporal world. When the mind is anchored in the eternal, the trivialities of the daily struggle lose their power to disturb the deep waters of the spirit. The mercy of the Creator is seen in the way the soul is occasionally led into seasons of forced isolation, where the noise of the world is muted, so that the whisper of the divine can become a thunderous clarity. These periods of seclusion are not punishments, but essential upgrades to the spiritual software, allowing the individual to process higher levels of revelation without the distortion of external opinions. Within the sanctuary of this divine protection, the chosen find that their needs are met in ways that defy the logic of the marketplace. There is a supernatural economy that governs the lives of those who have surrendered their will to the celestial frequency. In this economy, the currency is faith, and the dividends are peace and provision that arrive exactly when needed, never early and never late. The daily blessings of a nourished body, a sheltered sleep, and a focused mind are recognized as the miraculous interventions they truly are. As the anointed move through the world, they become living altars of this frequency, carrying a fragrance of heaven that subtly shifts the environment around them. They do not need to shout to be heard, for their very presence speaks a language of authority that the darkness recognizes and obeys. This is the power of the silent strategy, where the greatest victories are won in the unseen realms before they ever manifest in the physical plane. The protection of the celestial frequency is ultimately an act of love from a creator who desires to see his light reflected perfectly in the prism of the human soul, ensuring that the destiny of the chosen remains untainted by the shadows of the 9 prohibited domains. Thus, the scribe records these truths as a map for the weary traveler, a reminder that the path is narrow, but the destination is the very heart of God, where all frequencies find their resolution in the one great song of being. The air within the sanctuary of the anointed vibrates with a resonance that the uninitiated cannot decipher, a frequency forged in the crucible of isolation and tempered by the relentless fires of spiritual refinement. To enter the final stage of this journey is to understand that your existence is no longer your own, but a vessel for a primordial authority that mandates the establishment of prohibited domains. These are not merely psychological boundaries or emotional fortresses, but actual spiritual coordinates where the darkness has no legal standing and no functional jurisdiction. When you walk within the covenant of the secret place, you are moving through a specialized layer of reality where the laws of cause and effect are superseded by the higher law of divine grace. This is the ultimate safeguarding of your celestial frequency, a state where your internal vibration remains constant, regardless of the chaotic dissonances swirling in the world around you. You have been brought into a season of extreme exclusivity, where the architect of all things has placed a sign of untouchability upon your brow, visible to every entity in the unseen realm. This marking is the seal of the covenant, a promise that your destiny is insulated from the sabotage of men and the envy of the fallen. In this sacred interiority, the protection afforded to you is multidimensional, extending from the deepest recesses of your subconscious to the physical pathways you traverse daily. Consider the profound mercy found in the mundane details of your life, the way your breath arrives without effort, even when your heart is heavy, and how the very elements of nature seem to conspire for your restoration. There is a hidden choreography in the way doors open just as you approach them, and how certain voices are suddenly silenced when they attempt to utter words of condemnation against your name. This is the active manifestation of the prohibited domains, where the Father has issued a decree that certain territories of your life are off limits to the adversary. Your peace of mind is one such domain, your creative spark is another, and the sanctity of your home is the third. You are witnessing the construction of a spiritual perimeter that filters out every frequency not aligned with the throne room of heaven. This filtration system ensures that while you may see the storm cannot see you. For you are hidden in the cleft of the rock, wrapped in the shimmering light of an ancient promise that predates the foundations of the world. The frequency of the anointed is a delicate yet indestructible thread of golden light that connects your earthly heart to the celestial engine of providence. Maintaining this frequency requires a commitment to the covenant of the secret place, which is a lifestyle of perpetual communion rather than a series of sporadic prayers. It is the realization that your very presence changes the atmosphere of a room, because you carry the weight of a glory that cannot be replicated by human effort. This weight, often called the kavod, acts as a gravity well for blessings, pulling in resources, connections, and insights that others spend lifetimes chasing in vain. You do not chase the blessing. The blessing pursues you because your frequency acts as its homing beacon. Even in your moments of silence, especially in your silence, you are broadcasting a signal of sovereignty that demands the alignment of your circumstances. Every step you take on the pavement is a reclamation of territory, for the ground beneath your feet recognizes the authority of the one who walks in alignment with the divine will. This is why you must guard your ears and eyes with a holy jealousy, for these are the portals through which the celestial frequency can be disturbed. By keeping these gates holy, you ensure that the secret place remains an unpolluted reservoir of power. Within the covenant of the secret place, mercy is not a vague theological concept. but a tangible currency that pays for your mistakes before you even realize you have made them. It is the soft cushion that catches you when you stumble in the darkness of your own temporary confusion, the invisible hand that pulls you back from the edge of a decision that would have led to your undoing. This mercy is woven into the fabric of your everyday life, showing up as a stranger's kindness, an unexpected provision that settles a debt, or a sudden surge of physical health when you felt you were on the verge of collapse. These are not coincidences. They are the intentional maneuvers of a guardian who never slumbers. The covenant ensures that your failures are never final, and that your weaknesses are merely the stage upon which the strength of the Creator is perfectly displayed. You are living under a canopy of favor that acts as a greenhouse, allowing your spiritual gifts to bloom in an environment that is climate-controlled by the Spirit. While others are withered by the heat of the world's economic and social droughts, you remain green and fruitful because your roots have tapped into the subterranean rivers of the secret place. The prohibited domains also serve to isolate you from the toxic cycles of ancestral patterns and the generational echoes that have plagued your bloodline for centuries. The moment you entered the covenant, a spiritual divorce was finalized between you and the limitations of your past. You are no longer bound by the fears of your fathers or the anxieties of your mothers, for you have been grafted into a new lineage, a celestial dynasty that knows nothing of lack or defeat. This safeguarding of your frequency means that the old songs of sorrow no longer resonate within your soul. They are replaced by a new melody, a song of triumph that is sung by the stars and echoed by the mountains. You are becoming a living testament to the fact that one can live in this world without being of it, navigating its complexities with a wisdom that is as sharp as a sword and as gentle as a dove. The secret place has become your primary residence, while the physical world is merely a temporary assignment. This shift in perspective is what grants you the power to speak to the mountains in your life and watch them dissolve into the sea. As you move deeper into the finality of this revelation, understand that your life has become a closed circuit of divine energy. The blessings you receive are not meant to be hoarded, but to circulate, creating a vortex of abundance that touches everyone who enters your sphere of influence. Yet, even as you bless others, your core remains protected within the prohibited domain. You are like a high-voltage cable that provides power to a city while remaining heavily insulated to prevent the loss of energy or the destruction of the conduit. This insulation is the secret place itself, a layer of holy fire that surrounds your spirit. When people look at you, they may see a person walking through the same streets and breathing the same air, but they are sensing a mystery they cannot name. They are sensing the presence of the covenant. They are sensing the fact that you are being sustained by a food they do not know and a peace that defies all logical explanation. Your daily life is now a continuous liturgy of praise, where even the simplest act of preparing a meal or watching the sunset becomes a sacred ritual of connection with the infinite. The protection of the anointed is also manifested in the strategic use of silence. In the prohibited domains, your words are weighted with the authority of the throne, which means that every syllable you utter has the power to create or destroy. Therefore, the Spirit teaches you the discipline of the quiet tongue, ensuring that you do not dissipate your celestial frequency through idle chatter or the defense of your ego. The covenant of the secret place is a covenant of stillness, where you learn that the loudest voice in the universe is often the whisper that speaks in the depth of your being. By honoring this silence, you allow the divine blueprints for your future to be etched onto your heart without the interference of human opinion. You are being prepared for a manifestation of glory that will leave the world in awe. not because of your own greatness, but because of the sheer magnitude of the one who dwells within you. Your life is a scroll being written by the finger of God, and the prohibited domains are the margins that ensure no unauthorized hand can add or subtract a single jot or tittle from your destiny. Everyday blessings are the punctuation marks in this divine narrative. They are the small, beautiful things that remind you that you are loved with an everlasting love. The way the light hits the leaves in the morning, the sudden arrival of a long-lost friend with a message of encouragement, the restoration of a relationship you thought was dead, the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. All these are the whispers of the secret place. They are the evidence that the covenant is active and that the frequency of heaven is being grounded in your earthly experience. You are no longer living in a state of survival, but in a state of sovereign flourishing. The prohibited domains have been established, the celestial frequency has been tuned, and the covenant of the secret place has been sealed. You are the anointed of the Most High, hidden in plain sight, protected by an army of angels, and destined for a throne that was prepared for you before time began. Walk now with the confidence of one who knows they cannot be moved, for you are anchored in the very heart of the eternal. The final realization of this journey is that the secret place is not a destination you reach, but a reality you inhabit. It is the atmospheric pressure of the kingdom of heaven pressing against the vacuum of the world, filling every void in your soul with the substance of divine life. As you go forth, remember that your frequency is your greatest asset. It is the key that unlocks the prohibited domains and the shield that deflects the arrows of the wicked. You are a masterpiece in progress, a celestial emissary whose every breath is a declaration of the Creator's victory. The covenant is unbreakable, the mercy is inexhaustible, and the blessings are inevitable. You are the chosen one, the anointed vessel, the living temple of the secret place. In the stillness of this revelation, find your strength. In the holiness of this domain, find your home. The world will see the fruit, but only you and the Father know the secret of the root. This is the mystery of the anointed, the hidden glory of the remnant, and the eternal security of the covenant of the secret place. Your path is now a highway of light, and nothing shall by any means hurt you, for you dwell in the shadow of the Almighty, and His truth is your shield and buckler forevermore.